Ladies and gentlemen, I am an outsider. I don't come from this region, and I'm deeply aware of the passionate concerns of everybody in this audience. This is my first observation. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the audience. Your fortitude in listening to so many speakers so attentively. It's a real difficulty to listen to speaker after speaker, and I know that. Now, my talk is going to be short, and it's going to be reflections. I want to consider the situation from where I have studied international affairs and history over many, many years. And I start by asking myself, can Hindu revivalism be moderated by the affairs of the United Nations or other means? And I'm not at all sure that it can. So what I want to do is to very briefly look at some of the key contexts in which this dispute is about. Now, the first one is Hindu revivalism. And I was very grateful for Ifikaz Gilani's talk. He's the first talk to look at some of the depths of this movement. A movement that has itself goes back to before the 1760s, when the East India Company took over from the Mughal Empire. It's a movement, clearly, that has ambitions to unite the entire region under a Hindu government. What sort would always remain to be seen. And it does appear to me that it's possible that India could be taking over from where the British, the French, and the Germans left off when they left the colonial world after 1945. So the first major issue is, what is Hindu revivalism? And I'm not even going to attempt to answer a question which I have not studied in any depth. And the second level of this problem is about capitalism itself and the form that it takes, because the structure of what is happening is clearly capitalism. The Kashmir crisis is about, in part, resources in the land, under the land and on the land. It's about the control of water, and it's about the strategic concerns that controlling the hills in Kashmir give to those who have control. Now, both Pakistan and India work with the World Bank and the IMF. And you might ask, what has that got to do with the Kashmir crisis? But both societies follow a neoliberal economic policy. Both are the essential components of support from the United States. And so the question I ask myself is, where does the United States stand in this crisis? And I'd don't answer that question, but I do pose it, because I don't think it's been posed properly today. And where the United States, who the United States support, and who China supports, may be effective in controlling the crisis or increasing it. So those are the two basic elements. So is there a solution in international law, or politics, in diplomacy, and in history? And certainly some of the speakers today have thought there is. And I would suggest that these are short-term solutions. To me, this is an existential crisis of which there are no boundaries, potentially no boundaries to it. Hindu revivalism, left to itself, could expand in the entire region. So I ask myself, what are the strengths and the weaknesses of the other side? Both sides think that morality is theirs. And where would the big powers stand in this crisis? Now, if it was me, and it's not, I'm glad to say, I would send my young people out across the world to examine all the surrounding countries and our policies in relation to India. I would send my young people to India, the United States, and to Europe, just as the Japanese did in the 1860s. If I can remind you of a little bit of history, the Japanese were the one country in the 19th century which had not been colonized, which were able to industrialize themselves within 25 years. And they sent their people out across the world to examine why the Europeans and the Americans were so powerful. And they became powerful themselves in return. And I think in a crisis of this character and this depth, you need your young people out everywhere to examine what to do and to help the society. Thank you.